Welcome to Fantastic Vision. Please subscribe us before you watch today's video. In recent years, the technological competition between China and the United States has intensified, and the United States has been trying to curb China's technological development through sanctions, especially in the field of semiconductors. However, reality has taught the United States a vivid economic lesson. Instead of achieving the expected effect, the sanctions have prompted more chip manufacturers to change their attitudes and flock to the mainland market, choosing to establish production bases in China. This phenomenon has not only attracted widespread attention from the international community, but also made the United States begin to reflect on the effectiveness of its sanctions policy. Looking back at history, the U.S. technological sanctions against China are not overnight. From the extreme pressure during the Trump era to Biden's continued containment, the United States has been trying to curb China's technological progress by restricting its access to key technologies and resources. However, this unilateral sanction has not only failed to stop China's technological development, but has also exacerbated tensions between China and the United States and led to a series of chain reactions. Recently, the United States has sanctioned 140 Chinese companies. In response, China has restricted the export of key materials such as gallium, germanium, antimony, graphite, and superhard materials to the United States. This move directly hit the U.S. semiconductor industry chain, because China occupies an important position in the supply of these materials. At the same time, China's four major industry associations issued a statement questioning the safety and reliability of American chips, and calling on related industries to purchase them with caution. This series of countermeasures not only demonstrated China's determination and ability, but also made the United States aware of the limitations of its sanctions policy. In an exclusive interview on the eve of his resignation, Nicholas Burns, the U.S. ambassador to China, frankly stated that the unilateral sanctions imposed by the United States in the past did not achieve any results. He pointed out that the extreme pressure during the Trump era not only failed to curb China's development, but also brought Sino-US relations to a low point. Although Biden spared no effort in sanctioning and encircling China, he actively sought cooperation with China in combating the proliferation of fentanyl and achieved remarkable results. This contrast made the United States begin to reflect on the rationality and effectiveness of its sanctions policy. At the same time, the U.S. media also began to reflect deeply on the sanctions policy. Mainstream media such as the Washington Post published commentary articles pointing out that China today is no longer the country that can passively withstand U.S. suppression. China has demonstrated its strength and determination through countermeasures, and also let the international community see the failure of the U.S. sanctions policy. This series of chain reactions has led global chip manufacturers, such as the European semiconductor giants, to choose to establish production bases in China. Take the European chip giant Infineon as an example. The company recently announced the establishment of a new chip production plant in China. Automotive chip giants ST Microelectronics and NXP have also successively stated that they will conduct local manufacturing in China. The reason why these companies choose to build factories in China is mainly because the market, raw materials and industrial chain are all in China, and China has lower costs and stronger market demand. In addition, with the continuous release of production capacity of wafer foundries in mainland China, and the rise of the rush to grab orders, more chip design companies have begun to choose to tape out in China. It is worth noting that Taiwan's chip manufacturing industry occupies an important position in the world, with more than 60% of chips manufactured in Taiwan. However, with the rise of wafer foundries in mainland China and the concentrated release of production capacity, Taiwanese chip manufacturers have also begun to transfer some front-end manufacturing businesses to mainland China. This trend has not only intensified the technological competition between China and the United States, but also brought new challenges and opportunities to Taiwan's chip manufacturing industry. Faced with this series of changes, American media and experts have begun to clearly realize that sanctions cannot win China. According to statistics from TrendForce, there are currently 47 wafer fabs in mainland China, including 22 12-inch wafer fabs and 25 8-inch fabs. Research organization TrendForce also predicts that by 2027, mainland China's share of mature process capacity will reach 39% of the world. These data fully demonstrate the vigorous development and huge potential of China's semiconductor industry. However, the US technology sanctions on China have not completely stopped. Biden is still trying to curb China's technological development by restricting its access to advanced technology and equipment. However, this approach is not only difficult to work, but may also further accelerate China's pace of independent innovation. Because in the face of external pressure and challenges, China will be more determined to embark on the road of independent innovation and continue to break through technological bottlenecks and blockade restrictions. In summary, the US technology sanctions on China have produced obvious counter-effects. Not only has it failed to curb China's development momentum, but it has prompted more chip manufacturers to choose to establish production bases in China. This phenomenon has not only made the United States begin to reflect on the rationality and effectiveness of its sanctions policy, but also allowed the international community to see the vigorous development and huge potential of China's semiconductor industry. In the future, as the technological competition between China and the United States becomes increasingly fierce and complex, both sides need to deal with their differences and cooperation issues more rationally and pragmatically. Only in this way can mutual benefit, win-win and common development be achieved.